Well, guys, welcome back to my shop. This is Chris with M7 Metalworks, and this is kind of a funky video in that I'm doing it kind of after the fact, and I didn't take as much video as I probably should have. So mostly this is going to be about the Honda EM400, but I've got an EX1000 that you're looking at as well, and both needed a lot of work. You'll see how dirty this EX1000 was. It was just caked with a layer of sawdust and dirt. But mostly I had to just clean the carbs on these things and then just give them a good washing, and they were running really stellar. Got them real cheap on Facebook Marketplace, and we'll have some video here of some the work that I did on both of them, and I'll try to go briefly through them, so I don't want to bore you with some of the adding a pull rope, but you can just see how dirty this 1000 was. It needed new fuel lines that were crusty. It needed a carb cleaning. I power washed the entire thing, just wiped everything down, cleaned it all up. But you can see how well it turned out here in a minute. You'll see it on the bench. You just see the dirt just caked on it. And the pan underneath this thing that's bolted to it was just hideous like that as well. You can see all the electronics came out real nice, good and clean. I mean, almost new looking now. Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. I'm Chris with M7 Metalworks, and I've got this Honda EX1000. Nice little generator, runs good. I'm doing just a handful of things to it right now, but one of those things is it needs a new pull rope because it's really frayed, and I'm afraid it's just gonna break. All right, this is 8 mil. I already feel the tension from the spring. Definitely use some grease in there. That grease is really old. Be good to clean this up as well. So I'm going to keep the spring in there and basically unwind the rope. Kind of helps us get this piece out. I don't know if this is original or not. We're going to use it. Doesn't say Honda on it, but and we're just running that in through there. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Let's get that back in there. Perfect. And you can see it's kind of sticking through just a little bit, and that's all we need to do there. And then we just need to give it a knot. Okay, got both of these cleaned up, much better looking now. Put some good amount of grease in this thing, and hacked with grease. There's our rope, and there's with no tension, so we're going to go 1 revolution. There's 2. That's 3. Let's try 3. Okay, this, if you recall, we got that little bump. That bump goes on one of those. All right, I'm going to try to show you guys how this is going on. So you can see how I've got this little piece of metal in there,
I do have a little bit of lubrication on it, but I think I'm going to put just a little bit more. Matter of fact, I'll do that right now. You can see it's almost like a smiley face, 2 eyes and a mouth and a nose, right? This part goes on the indentation, the long indentation goes on it, and these little things, they kick inward. They're going to seat right into that, so that prevents it. Once this goes down, it prevents it from being able to go over that once we get it down. So what we're going to do, we'll put our bolt in. So when that turns, that little dog kicks out and catches. And of course, spins your motor over.
Okay guys, so now I did end up winding this thing 7 times. So if you recall, the first time I did it, it was 3. I went 7 things on it. This is, again, an EX1000 Honda generator. I've been spraying it with some rust converter. So basically, I'm going to hit it with a little bit of flame-proof paint. Once that dries, it kind of converts that to iron phosphate instead of iron oxide. And it'll blacken it up a little bit. A lot of times it leaves a bit of a chalky look to it. But I'm just getting that muffler. The muffler's got a bit of rust on it. And just thought, you know, for not a whole lot of effort, I can de-rust that and protect it with a little bit of paint. Did the same thing up here. You can see it's already converted a lot of that, those little tiny rust pockets. I've got one other thing that I'm working on right now, and that is the tank. And I've got it, whoa, let's get some focus here. I've got it over here. So this is the tank for the EX1000, and that is the tank for an EM400. And I essentially de-rusted these. Now I say de-rusted. You're gonna see just a little bit of surface rust. Now most of it, you don't even have that, but there is a little bit of surface rust down in there. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of this concrete metal prep. It's essentially phosphoric acid. It'll convert that little bit of surface rust to iron phosphate. And then it's also, my understanding is it leaves a really good painting surface then. It's ready to paint at that point. You don't even have to clean it. So this tank here had quite a bit more rust in it. Of course, it's quite a bit older, and it wasn't coated. This other tank was coated. Now, I put a Vaporust in this tank, and it took the coating away, so keep that in mind. So I'm going to fill these both up with a little bit of phosphoric acid. Well, I've got it running again. The power light was on earlier, and now it's off, so that concerns me a little bit. It is producing power, though it's slow. So it's at 50 some hertz right now, 45, and then 107. So pretty low. So we're going to see if we can speed it up just a bit. Another thing of note is my crankcase vent is spewing oil. Now, I didn't think I overfilled it. I mean, looking at this, it looked like I put in about the right amount, but I probably put a little too much in it. We're going to see if that slows down as we go. But now we're going to just make a quick adjustment here. See if we can start speeding that up a little bit. Yeah, that's helped a little. Okay, need to go a little more. I've given this, by the way, time to warm up, so ideally I'd like to get it about 62, 63 bit low. Close. 58. 59. Go a bit higher. That's much better. Yeah, we'll hold right there. It's about where we'd want it. Okay, still running the little generator. We're at 59, 58 hertz. We've got a heat lamp plugged in over here. 300-watt continuous, 400-watt max. And keeping in mind it's pretty old now, so 230 watts is pretty impressive, I think. So yeah, we're over at 58 plus. I would say we're dropping down into 57 every once in a while. Yeah, going pretty good. We're going to let that run for a little bit, guys. I still got oil coming out the side here, and I don't know really what to make of that. Other than that, maybe I filled the crankcase up too much. So, I don't know. We're going to let it run for a while. We're going to give it a little bit of a workout and see if we can't get this thing running just as smooth as it possibly can. And hopefully this will stop leaking at some point, and we'll reach our happy medium there where the crankcase has got enough oil in it, but it's not so much that it's spitting it out. And then we'll change the oil. Alright guys, so I've been making an adjustment on that screw right there for the governor because I had ran out of travel on this one. So I backed this one off. That way it still gives me some adjustment, and I screwed that one in. And now we are at 61 hertz, and we're 115 volts. Our wattage is 230, 32. So again, our hertz is doing good. This is under load. Obviously, we unplug this. We're going to have it's gonna spin up. I've got it just a little above 60 because it will drop down every once in a while. There you go, 60. And remember, we're not at full wattage here, so, and my voltage is 115 still, so we're in good shape. And on another good note, this oil is slowing way down. You can see it's put quite a bit of oil on this, but it's slowing way down. Well, let me get my kilowatt. Put that up there. So I'm going to put this back together, and we'll continue. It's been running, by the way, from now for 35 minutes. So running 35 minutes, and about 20 of those have been at full load, or 230 watt load. Okay. It's been running for quite a while now. We're at an hour. Still around 59, 58 hertz. Dropped in our voltage just a little bit. Now I've unplugged we don't have a load. We're a little high on our hertz. All right, and one of the big things I was pointing out here, just didn't want to talk over the motor running, but we've come to an equilibrium on our oil. I just filled it basically to the threads there, and you know, that obviously was too much. So we'll unplug her now. So that was a good test, successful. Thing runs like a top. We'll go ahead and put our air cleaner back on. We do need to do, I'm gonna do an oil change, and I will put the correct amount of oil in this time. And then also, this light burned out. I wasn't sitting in front of it when it happened, but when I came back out here, it was out. So, not too surprising. It's probably pretty old. Needed to be changed anyway. So we'll pull this back off, and we'll change the oil. The oil's nice and hot now, so it'll be good to drain it now, get all the dirt out of there, and then we'll put in some fresh crankcase oil. I did, if you notice, I did buy one of these things off of eBay. I actually bought two for the EX1000, and they actually fit. I was a little surprised because I'm pretty sure the listing just stated that they were for the, you know, the more up-to-date Honda generators, but Honda hasn't changed that for like 40, 50 years. So, and I was pretty sure of that, and I was correct. So they fit perfectly. These have got the little magnetic piece on the end. I'll try to show you that when we change the oil. All right, let's go ahead and get this off of there. So there's the magnetic strip, and you can see it's picked up some crud in there. Whew, it's hot too. Let me put it over here. We'll set it on there, and then I've got a little pan here that I'm going to put it on. And I'm going to have to put you guys down to do that. So I'm just going to tilt it. Just pull the thing over and tilt it. I'm kind of elevated on a board here. So I'll just tilt it and pour it into that pan. All right, guys, this is the pan of oil. And it's got some swirly stuff in there. So it's got some metal bits in there. Now, is that from, you know, years and years ago, or is that from today's, you know, running? I don't really know. Impossible for me to say, obviously, but I have definitely a little bit of debris, a little bit of metal. I mean, it's very fine, obviously, but I do have some on the tip of this little magnetic thing, and there is, if you look, a little swirling action, and that's indicative of fine metal. Now, that's what I would expect to see on a break-in engine. I mean, I've got to guess this thing's been broken in, you know. It runs like a top, I'm not going to lie. It actually started on the very first pull. Once I put the fuel in there, it started on the very first pull when I put it out here. And I haven't started it in a couple days, so not sure. We're gonna monitor, I guess. Well, you can see that I've got the light going in. All that took was me unscrewing this little plastic lens unscrews, and that light, you can see that it's got threads, and that light was just loose.